Let me just get the hair zhuzhing out of the way as much as I can. Hi friends, it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. If you've been around for the last couple of years, then you've probably heard me mention in quite a few of my recent reads or wrap-ups book club. Book club is in reference to the House Salt book club, which is something that I started with my friends back in 2020. So we are now in the 6th year of book club, and I can't believe that it's been going on for this long. Very easy to coordinate book club in 2020 and like the years immediately after because we had so much free time. Nobody was going outside into the wild, nobody had plans. Now that we all have plans again and people live in other time zones, like opposite time zones, it has made book club a lot harder to sustain, but we're still here. We're in our 6th year of it. And this started as just something that we wanted to do together. We wanted to have more reasons to hang out. Started it in January of 2020, not knowing what 2020 would bring. So it wasn't like we were trying to like sustain friendships through the pandemic. It just happened to correlate time-wise really well with that. So we had an excuse to hang out every month. It's really been a driving force of my reading for the last several years. Even when I was in the worst of my reading slumps, I was still always prioritizing book club because I wanted to show up for my friends and I wanted to hang out with them and talk with them about books that I had no business reviewing. Let's be honest with that. Our co-hosts, my lovely friends that assist with this and really do most of the work, and I just read the book and show up, are Murray from My Name is Marinez, Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, who usually hosts the live shows, Paige from Minimal Bookie, Connor from Connor O'Brien. I don't know why that took me a minute to think of that. It's just his name. And then Kayla from Kay Charisse. So the goal of the book club has always been to read 12 books a year. We normally hit 10 of the 12 months, like on average, looking at our stats. Sometimes we group books that are a little bit longer over 2 months. Sometimes we take time off around the holidays. Sometimes we accidentally group books together because busy schedules happen and we can't find a time to do the live show. We're also really not great about determining live show dates until the last minute. So this is like a very casual book club. Now, we don't know when we're really reviewing the books until like the day before. And then that's usually my cue. I need to read the book. I was thinking we've never really done announcement style videos anywhere else or posts anywhere. We normally just announce in the live show the books that are upcoming. And I thought it might be a good idea to try to put books out a little bit in advance in like a really formal way like this so that people that want to join have time to. And I know what you're thinking, Jordan, it's the end of February. How is this on time? It's not. We're late as per usual. We did have a book picked for January. Time got away from us a little bit, schedules got away from us a little bit, and all of a sudden it was February and we haven't reviewed the January book yet. So we're going to be doing January and February together towards the end of this month, reviewing both these books in one live show together. And it actually works out really well in this case because one is a romance book that we might not have a whole lot to talk about. Sometimes it's really hard to talk about a book for an hour, especially if it's a book that everybody gave like 3 stars. It's a very challenging thing to talk about for an hour. Usually the really good books or the really bad books become much easier for us to discuss. Thought we could sit down and chat about the first 3 books that we have planned for January, February, and March. I'll do another one of these videos for May, June, and July. April, June. What order do the months happen in? April, May, and June. A little bit closer to the end of March so that you guys can join along with us if you would like. You do still have time to join us for January and February and March because the March book isn't even out yet. It's a new release. We do try to pick a good variety of like backlist picks and new releases. We've also done a variety of ways of how we pick the books. The first couple of years of the book club, we collectively chose books together to try to make sure we were picking things that kind of align with everyone's tastes because we don't really all have the same reading tastes. We kind of have similar things that we like in books, but like the genres that we're reading vary a little bit. And then we just got a slew of really bad books that we were just like not vibing with. They just weren't a good time. And so we were thinking maybe we should change up the way in which we choose books. And so from there, we started pulling names from a hat. And then that member of book club would pick the book we were reading for that month. And that was really fun. But it did create some issues in like investment in reading of certain things. We all had a little bit different approach to how we picked books in that time. Some of us were using it as a chance to take books off of our own personal TBRs. Like, I really want to read this month, so I'm going to give that as the book club pick for everybody. Some people did it as a way to push the group into trying new genres or new authors or things. Like, I picked a cozy mystery because I was trying to steer book club into like a mystery thriller direction, so down the line I could pick a true mystery thriller. Then we had some people go very rogue and pick very, very bad books just for the giggles, you know, for the plot of the book club. And some people appreciated that more than others. So the investment waned, you know, it waxed and waned through those years. So this year we decided to go back to the original way in which we picked books, where we try to collectively choose things as a whole, things that all of us would be invested in and all of us would like to read. With that being said, our first pick of 2025 for January is Masquerade by O.O. Sanjayomi. Again, this is the January pick for book club. This is an African-inspired retelling of Hades and Persephone. Very loose retelling of Hades and Persephone. There are some things that, like, when reading it, you could pick out and be like, oh, I see how that is Hades and Persephone, but I don't know that I felt it was like overly obvious. We do follow our main character, whose name is Ododo, and she lives in Timbuktu with her mother. She's a blacksmith. Blacksmithery is connected to witches in this world, and she crafts this beautiful metal rose flower. Daffodil. She's crafting this daffodil flower out of metal. She gives it to this man that she thinks is a vagrant, and then she ends up getting kidnapped right after that and taken to a faraway land to become the princess there, to marry their king, leader, whoever, and she has to attempt to establish herself in their society, and she has to establish dominance so that she's not taken advantage of. It's a pretty short book. It's like around 300-ish pages, so definitely something that you could read quickly if you would like to pick it up and join us for book club. And then going into February, we usually try to do like a fun romance thing for February, you know, Valentine's Day inspired. And this year it was chosen that we would read The Truth According to Ember by Danica Neva, which I don't know anything about. Following a Chickasaw woman who can't catch a break, serves up a little white lie that snowballs into much more in this witty and irresistible rom-com by a debut author. I think this is also a debut author. So we've got some good debut women of color authors that we are starting the year off with. I don't know what this book is about. I don't typically, at least not in recent years, I don't typically go into books with very much knowledge of the plot or the characters or anything. And I don't know if that's serving me well or working against me. But I've been picking up a lot of things just on vibes. I will read the synopsis for you guys, not out loud, but I will read it and then I will summarize it for you so that you have an idea of what it's about. Oh, she's on a job search. That's a fun time. And her resume is rejected for the 37th time. Oh, and she lies about her qualifications or gets creative, whichever one you would like to say. Oh, she changes the way in which she answers the ethnicity question on applications with a half lie. She is Native American and she lies and says that she's white on a job application so that she lands her dream accounting job. Okay, so she's thriving in her corporate life. There's another character who is another Native American. He is an IT guy, and they've locked eyes across the room, but there's a strict no dating at work policy. So that seems like a problem for them. Oh, they start dating in secret. I do love a secret romance. But when they're caught in a compromising position on a work trip, Well, that sounds like a problem. A scheming colleague blackmails Ember, and then more lies happen, and she has to ultimately stay silent or tell the truth. It's blurred by Emily Henry, who I love. Group chat has not been loving this one either, so our first two aren't looking super promising for a book club, but it's called House Salt for a reason, so we'll find some fun things to talk about. But these are our first two picks for January and February. As I mentioned, we'll be talking about both of these together in the same live show, so that will be coming soon. And then our March pick is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is the next book in the Hunger Games series world. Or did I think we would get one prequel, let alone two prequels for the series? We read the first prequel, Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, back in 2020 for a book club when that one first came out, and that was a time that no one enjoyed. No one liked the book. No one had a fun time. It was a story that nobody asked for, if I'm going to be honest. Nobody wanted to know about President Snow. At least nobody in our book club did. So we were hate reading that book, essentially. No one had a great time. And then we did a special bonus episode of book club where we all went and saw the movie and then talked about the movie. I do believe that this one already has movie rights auctioned off. I'm sure it'll be a very successful movie addition to the franchise. This is like the story that I actually wanted. This is following Haymitch during Haymitch's games. And that is something that I actually would read, and I'm actually excited to read. He is participating in a quarter quell, the same way that we watched Katniss do in book 2. The year that he goes to the Reaping, they double the amount of contestants that are being put into the games. So rather than 2 from each district, they do 4. So that's a grander scale than anything that we've seen before. And it doesn't have President Snow as a main character, which is really all that I could ask for. Honestly, that's a big, huge win plus for me because that was dreadful. Hopefully this one goes much better. This comes out in March, so it's not even out yet. It comes out on March 18th. Those are our first 3 picks for book club, January, February, and then March. If you would like to join along, please follow House Salt on, I believe we have a Twitter. I don't think we have a Blue Sky account. I believe we have an Instagram. You can follow on Sam's YouTube channel. It's typically, again, where we do the live shows, thoughts on tomes, usually at their last minute. So make sure you're following us on those places if you want updates on when the live show will be happening. If you'd like to follow me for any more updates, I'll be sure to post another one of these at the end of March for the next 3 months. And you can follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky. And until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.